are back from break. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv, B-O-L-E-S.tv, checking our disco light on the break. It's looking good. It's staying very cool. It's not too hot. And we thank the beautiful Jana Marie for loaning us permanently for the next 100 years her prize-winning crystal ball that she won in the Christmas time office decorating contest. So we've been talking about scams this morning, and we're going to continue that conversation from the writing room to the street. And you wouldn't think that there are a lot of scammy people who can scam writers, because writers are really smart and genius and brilliant, right? Do you know a lot of writers? They say there are two people who are just terrible with money and who are open to any scam out there. And those two groups of people are doctors, who will invest in anything and lose it all, and writers who never have any money, but once they do have money, they're happy to give it away to people who scam them. So this is a missive from the Authors Guild to their writing community, warning people, say, look, there are scammers out there, and you have to be careful because we're now online. People are at home with COVID. They're lonely. And these scammers see an opportunity to go and take advantage of you. As we previously reported, this person who was trying to rip off these writers would send out emails impersonating real people working in the publishing industry. A specific editor, for example, by using fake email addresses. And that happens a lot. There are people who go out there and create personas of famous people and then use them to pretend to be that famous person to get money out of people. It's very interesting. And this scammer of writers would employ slightly tweaked domain names like penguinrandornhouse.com instead of penguinrandomhouse.com, putting an RN in place of an M. And if you look typographically, RN next to an M, they look very similar, especially if you have older eyes or you're not paying attention. Especially when it's embedded in a long domain name. According to the indictment, this guy had registered more than 160 fraudulent internet domains impersonating publishing professionals and companies. So this guy was found convicted of ripping off these authors by taking money from them and promising them publication deals and promising to introduce them to rich people, and these writers, desperate for attention and to get published, they would send him money. So here are some notes from the Authors Guild. Is it a publishing scam? How you can recognize a scam. They have to write it out for people, smart people, to read this, to figure out if you're being scammed or not. Unfortunately, when you're in the middle of being scammed, you usually don't have any idea they are scamming you until it's too late. Legitimate publishers and agents do not charge a fee to review your manuscript. Anyone seeking to collect such a fee is most likely fraudulent. I agree with that 100%. No honest manager, publisher is going to charge you a reading fee for them to decide if they want to represent you. And I meet a lot of writers who will pay fees. Some people pay $25. Some people pay $500. And these are not, superstar named agents. These are scummy people on the internet saying, I'm an agent and I might take you on and make you $1 million. But for me to do that, you have to pay me $500 first. And then I'll read your script. And if I like it, then I'll take you on as a client. And if I don't like it, well, that was my reading fee, that $500. And people pay $500, and then the agent takes the money, the alleged agent takes the money and says, I don't think we're a good fit. Thanks for the money. Yes, Dora says on Twitter too, people hijack other people's profiles. Yes, they hijack them and they also just plain out impersonate them and pretend to be, hi, I'm Brad Pitt. I'm stuck in Wyoming. Can you send me $100? And people do. Now, the Authors Guild says that some legitimate literary magazines or small presses run contests for which they charge a small reading fee, like $25. Now, I don't agree with that at all, because what they're doing is they're running a contest, right? The winner gets $500, and everybody pays $25 to enter the contest. And they use that $25 from everybody to pay the winner's fee, and then they keep the rest. It's a little bit of a pyramid scheme. Don't pay to enter a contest. That's my advice to you. Don't do it. Traditional publishers will not ask you to pay them up front. And so beware of any request for a fee from a publisher, with the exception of hybrid publishers, which do split costs, and those are vanity presses. You can publish your own stuff, which is what I do. I don't deal with mainstream publishers anymore because what they're interested in is not what I'm interested in. So I make all my money by publishing my own stuff on Google and Amazon and Kindle, and it's all free. I don't pay $1 for any of it. Now, there are vanity publishing houses, you see them advertised on television, where they say, hey, we're looking for authors. Come and join us. And by the way, you owe us $100 for us to consider you. Don't do it. Credible book publicists and marketers generally are a fee for service providers, meaning they shouldn't charge you until after they have performed the work. Some may ask for half their fees up front. If so, make sure you have a carefully worded agreement outlining what tasks they will perform. That's good advice too. You don't pay a PR person $500 to get your PR out, and then they don't do anything. Because PR people really don't do a lot for you. They will try, I believe, the good ones, the earnest ones, but if they're not connected, all they're going to do is send out email PR stuff to people on their lists and hope that something sticks. And you should ask for pull through and click through notes and determinations of what they did for that $500. Whether by phone, email, or post, larger traditional publishers and movie studios rarely approach authors out of the blue with incredible opportunities. Very true. The big name people it's a closed system, and there are some agents who play in that system and some agents who do not. And it's very hard to break through. I did a very long humanmeme.com podcast on why you do not need an agent. Because agents will not take you on unless you have a contract or interest in hand from someone, and then they'll take 10% for the life of your project. As I argue in my podcast, it's much better and much smarter for you to hire an attorney, an entertainment attorney, who will charge you $500, $1,500 to negotiate a contract for you. You pay them, and you're done. So if you make $1 million, it costs you $1,500 to hire an attorney. And if you have an agent who negotiates $1 million contract for you and they take 10% for the lifetime, the first mil, they get $100,000 for doing exactly the same work that your attorney did for $1,500. So here's a link, I'll put it in chat, to the Authors Guild Scammer Alert site. It's really well done. It's a public blog page. It's a great read. It expands more on what I just shared with you. And it's really sad in many ways how these people, and what's great is they give you very specific examples of these publishing scams and how people pretend to be who they are not. Dora says, great advice. When a lawyer versus agent. Yeah, agents in my life have never found me $1 worth of work. I've had several agents over my lifetime, and I always brought them work. They took 10%, and then they never did another thing. Some people love their agents. I prefer not to go that route. And a lot of young writers spend a lot of time, I've got to have an agent. I need an agent. Please have an agent. I need it. No, you don't need an agent. Go out there and do all that self-promotion yourself, and then when someone wants to give you a contract, and if it's not for a lot of money, you can get help from the Dramatists Guild, if you're a member, or the Authors Guild, if you're a member, and they will review your contract for you for free as part of your union dues. They're not unions, they are guilds. As part of your guild dues, they will review for free your contract. So you don't even really need to hire an attorney. Now, they don't negotiate for you, but they read the contract and say, take this out, rephrase this way, and you can do your own negotiation, which is even smarter. I prefer to go a private attorney route because it's a little faster, and I think that the free services of the Dramatists Guild and the Authors Guild should be reserved for people who really have no money to hire a private attorney, and they're desperate, and I don't want to overwhelm them. But this is a great article learning about scams. So that got me thinking more about these scams, especially the street scams that you see on the street. And I wrote about one of them in bolesblogs.com, where one of my friends, Peter Stone, big author, big Broadway playwright, wrote movies, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, the original, he wrote. 1776 on Broadway, he wrote. Will Rogers' Follies, he wrote. And we were walking together. We were working on Will Rogers' Follies together, and we were walking on the street, and some guy bumped into us. And I was looking especially nerdy that day. I had my glasses on, my hair was perfect looking, and on a very nice coat, and this guy bumped into me and said, I made him drop, it was very crowded New York City street, I made him drop his $15 bottle of vodka. And he says, you owe me $2. And I said, I don't have $2. And he said, you better give me $2 or I'm going to punch both of you out. So Peter Stone gave the guy $2. He left. We went on our way. We got back to the theater. And we were being followed by a mother and one of the kids who was in the Will Rogers Follies. She said, what happened to you guys? She said, I saw the whole thing. And Peter Stone turned around and said, what do you mean? What happened? She said, that guy, you guys walked by him and he dropped his bottle of vodka. And I was like, what? And Peter Stone was older, tough guy. What? So Peter left the theater and went looking for the guy and came back. He said, I can't find him. And the woman said, look, this is a common scam in New York City, where people try to get $2 out of you by claiming you made them drop their drink. And she said that what you do with these people is you don't ignore them because they're going to chase after you. All you say is, hey, I'm sorry you got bumped. Let's find a police officer and have the police officer decide if I need to pay you something. And she said the second you mention police officer, they turn around and run because they know the police officers know the scam. So every day when we go out for our lunch, Peter Stone and I would walk, and Peter Stone, it used to be a wonderful time to chat about life and writing and topics. And from then on, he was looking for that guy with the vodka bottle so he could go, I guess, beat him up or get his $2 back. I don't know. So that's one street scam you need to be aware of that happens in the big cities. A longer scam always begins with friendship. People you don't know come up to you on the street, or your neighbor or someone in your neighborhood, and they suddenly want you to be friends. And people generally like to help other people. Oh, you need some help? I'm happy, I'm happy to help you. And so then maybe you help them, give them direction, loan them bus fare, something like that, and they're grateful. And then they come back later and they have tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Oh, my mother took my kid. I don't have enough to make the rent. Do you think you could help me, friend? And that's all part of the longer con of becoming your friend, of becoming attached to you. And you rarely ask them for a favor. They're always asking you for a favor. And you find out more about them, and that, oh, well, they have a verifiable job, so they must be a good person. They're not going to try to get a lot of money out of me. They also want to separate you and keep you out of the loop. Like if you're married or you have a good set of friends, they try to isolate you. So they are your only friend and they control you. And I remember one time Jana was on the street in New York City, and this woman out of nowhere came up to her and said, "Oh, you are so interesting." And Jana was like, And the woman said, "Does your name begin with a J?" And see, this is all part of the psychoanalytical thing where they try to get in on your good side. They're trying to friend you. And doing research about this particular kind of scam, J is the most common name in America. Names start with J. And Jana is aware, her spidey sense is going off, that something's going on, but she's willing to play along. She says, "Yeah, my name is Jana." "Oh," and then the woman goes on and tries to talk to her about what she's doing and how you could be involved, and let's get together tomorrow and I could give you a reading because I'm a psychic. And Jana's very polite and she just plays along and says, "Well, not today, thank you so much." And that happens quite often with people on the street coming up trying to strike up a conversation with you. Just be careful. People you don't know coming up to you as if they're your best friend. Watch your pockets is what I say. Watch your wallet. Keep your hand on your purse. And then this whole celebrity scam that we talked about earlier with the Authors Guild. There was a guy who used to live in our building. And where we lived at the time, we had no money. We were very poor, and everyone in our building was very, very poor. And there was a guy who lived above us who claimed to be a celebrity PR representative. And immediately I knew he was lying and he's a fake, because a celebrity PR with all the people he said he knew would not be living in that kind of building in our neighborhood. No way. And this guy never paid his rent, and he was loud, and he was a hoarder. But he claimed he had international clients. And the super of that building, who was a friend of mine, went up several times to try to collect the rent. And this guy said, "I have money coming in, I do major publicity for major movies," and he would name these movies, and he's not in any of these movies as the PR representative. And he claimed that his biggest client was Oprah. And when I heard that, I laughed out loud, because I said, there's no way Oprah Winfrey has this hoarder guy who hasn't paid his rent for 18 months is anything to do with Oprah. Oprah doesn't use people like that. She has superstar celebrity people doing her PR for her. And what he did, he told the super, he said, "Look, I have $50,000 coming in from Oprah because she owes me money for all the PR I've done for her. She's a big superstar, right? We started out together. I'm the one who made Oprah who she is. She's Oprah." And the super is telling me all this story with, stars in his eyes that, my gosh, I can almost touch Oprah through my guy who's not paying the rent. And this guy even went so far as to play, at this time there wasn't voicemail, there were answering machines. He would play answering machine voicemail from Oprah. "I have the money coming, you're my best friend." Played 10 messages from Oprah, apologizing for not paying on time for the super. And the super was a low information Spanish guy who ate it up. He said, "I heard it. I heard Oprah talking to him." I said, "Jose, it's not Oprah. It might be a friend of his pretending to be Oprah, doing an Oprah impersonation. She's very well known. She has a very interesting voice that is very recognizable. I'm sure anybody could imitate Oprah. It's not Oprah." And he thought that I was lying to him, and he became upset with me. He became upset with me that I didn't believe that Oprah was sending that tenant $50,000 to pay his back rent. And I said, "I understand. You're in it. He's scamming you. And I understand you're getting pressured by the landlord to collect the money, but the money's not going to be here. So just, put a time frame on it. Okay, I need the Oprah money, by Tuesday. And of course, there was no Oprah money, and about 6 months later, the landlord had enough and just threw him out, and they went to court to get rid of him, and one day he just vanished. Left every single thing in his apartment. And if you did a search on his name, you found out that he was a classic scammer. He'd been in prison for kiting checks, stealing from people, taking advantage of elderly people. He had a record. I said, how did you guys rent to this guy? You did background checks on me, you did background checks on Jana and on our cat, and you do a background check on this guy? Probably not. He said he's Oprah's representative. We don't have to background check him. Meanwhile, he skipped out on 18 months of rent and left all of his hoarding stuff behind. It took them 3 weeks to clean out that hoard. And they were right above us with wooden floors. So every step they took was like a drum pounding on our head for 3 weeks, cleaning up all that garbage. Now, also these scammers, they want to deal with you in something that can't be reversed, like a wire transfer. If you could just wire me $1,000, and then people do, and they can't get it back. Now, if you're paying them with a credit card, or you're paying them a check, you can put a stop on the check. So if someone wants money from you and they want it through a way that cannot be recalled, like maybe some kind of Cash App or PayPal where you have a little bit of protection, a wire transfer, you won't be able to get it back. Within a certain amount of time, you can reverse it. If it's like sent to the wrong address, they can recall a wire transfer. But after a certain amount of time, the wire transfer is gone, especially if it's going to a foreign country. You're not going to get it back. And another scam that they got Jana on, sort of, but not really, is she was walking down the street one day, and this woman popped out of a storefront. And before Jana could even say hi, this woman had put some kind of eye cream under her eye, right? This is pre-COVID. And the woman said, "Oh my gosh, you look so beautiful." And I think you've seen the advertisements for this on television, where eye cream, all your wrinkles disappear. And it does seem to sort of work a little bit. And this woman said, "Oh, you look wonderful. Why don't you come in and we'll do the other eye?" And she said, "Well, I'm on my way to work. I can't stop." And she said, "Okay, well, you can see how beautiful you look in this eye." And it was a difference. And the woman showed her a mirror. It happened to me in the Bahamas. Oh, here we go. This is good. These are universal scams then, just not America. And the woman said, you need this. And Jess said, "Well, I have to talk to my husband." And she said, "Well, call your husband right now." So she called me and she said, FaceTime. So the woman can't hear what we're saying because we're signing to each other. And I said, and she said, "Don't worry. I'm just want to see where this goes. I want to see I want to learn from this. I know we're not going to spend any money, but I just want to keep going." And so she hung up the phone. And later she told me, she said, "Well, we're low on funds." And the woman said, "Well, this is really $1,500 for a 1 month supply. But for you, I'll knock it down to $500. And come in, we'll do your whole face." And Jen said, "Oh, $300 is just, still a little bit too much for me. $300. Jen said, "Why do you keep lowering the price?" Because you look so beautiful. I want you to remain beautiful. And we'll come in and finish you. No charge. We'll just finish you no matter what. Just $300. And she said, I can't do it. The woman said, "Final offer. Take it or leave it. $150 for this little thing. And we'll give you a full facial. Do the other eye. You'll be beautiful." Same speech, hard sell, but I resisted, Dora says. Yeah. And Jess, "I'm sorry, I'm late for work. I really need to go." And the woman said, started to get very angry with her and say, I have been kind to you, I have made you look better, and you won't, because they know that if you leave, you're not going to come back. And she said, well, I'll come back when I'm done with work, I'll come back. And the woman knew she's not going to come back. So she's trying everything she can to get her inside the store, I'm sure, so she can lock her in a room and really put pressure on her. And Janet kept demurring and saying, no, thank you. And then Janice said, could I have just a little bit more so I could put it on my other eye so it matches, so I have the same beauty, and then I'll go on my day, see how it looks, and come back and see you after work. And the woman, knowing now that Janet was scamming her, said, you're on your own. You look terrible with one eye good and one eye bad, but that's your decision, not mine. I offered to change your life and you rejected me. Too bad. And the woman left her on the street with one beautiful eye and one ugly eye, and Janet went on her way. And for the rest of the day, she had one beautiful eye and one ridiculous eye, and she said she left that on so she could show me when she got home. And I admit that whatever it was, there was one eye that looked better, not as puffy or whatever, less wrinkles. You could see there was something on there. And maybe there are people who say yes to $1,000 a month. Maybe there are people who say yes to $150 a month. And then about 6 months later, I saw this very same scam that Dora is confirming on the People's Court on television. And this woman actually signed a $1,500 deal to go in there every week, get a facial, have her face done with this under eye stuff. And the woman then contested the report, the credit card charge for $1,500. And the scammer says, oh, no. She has to abide by it. And the People's Court said, look, you waited too long and you owe the money. So if you want to go in there and have the treatments done for $1,500, you can. And the guy said, if she doesn't want to come in, because she said, I don't want to go in for the treatments. And the guy said, I'll take care of her. I'll send her $1,500 worth of product and we'll take care of her, Judge. And the judge said, okay. I thought it was ridiculous. It was very clearly a New York scam. But I guess it was a contracts case, and the woman was fully aware of the contract, and she chickened out because she decided she didn't want to do it, not that the product didn't work. It was also some kind of NASA technology using lights and lasers or something. And finally, these scam people will, once they're your friend and you know them and you have trust between you, they will ask you for a big amount of money. $5,000 cash. I'll give it back to you tomorrow. Then you're all nervous. This is my friend. I care. They need the money for an operation. Well, I don't know what to do. They just need to pay the doctor until their other check clears. And there are people who give $5,000. And here's the trick. The long con, not the street con, the long con that's been going on for months, will turn around the next day and give you back your $5,000. Plus maybe another $200 as a favor fee for what you did for them. And your trust is restored in humanity. You know you have a true friend. It's wonderful. And that goes on with little higher amounts over the next couple of months. And then, in the end, they ask for a lot of money. They ask for $10,000. They ask for $100,000. And of course you give it to them because they've always paid you back. They're your new best friend. They care about you. They look out for you. And then they run away and you never see them again. So that's the publishing street scam, long con scam. And then, my friend, there is one more type of scam that's just too delicious not to include in this conversation. And it is this. What I am calling the voice cloning scam. Now, this is new technology. We've talked about deep fakes before, where people take video and manipulate it and make it look like Joe Biden is riding a donkey in Utah. Oh, that's really Joe Biden. And it looks exactly like Joe Biden. But it's not. It's all done with computers. Well, voice cloning is even more treacherous. Voice cloning is the task of learning to synthesize the voice of an unseen speaker from a few samples. While current voice cloning methods achieve promising results in text-to-speech synthesis for a new voice, and you've seen, there are text-to-speech things where you can use Trump's voice and have him say ridiculous things in his voice, okay? But it sounds fake and artificial. Well, the new approaches that are coming, or the old approaches, lack the ability to control the expressiveness of synthesized audio. In this work, this study, they have a way to fix that. We propose a controllable voice cloning method that allows fine-grained control over various style aspects of synthesized speech for an unseen speaker. Now imagine if you do this with the Oprah voice or the Oprah imitator. We achieve this by explicitly conditioning the speech synthesis model on a speaker encoding pitch contour and latent style tokens during training the computer to sound like the person. Through both quantitative and qualitative evaluations, we show that our framework can be used for various expressive voice cloning tasks using only a few transcribed or untranscribed speech samples for a new speaker. These cloning tasks include style transfer from a reference speech, synthesizing speech directly from text, and fine-grained control by manipulating the style conditioning variables during inference. Very, very scary stuff. We demonstrate that our proposed model can successfully extract and transfer style and speaker characteristics from unseen audio references to the synthesized speech. We recommend future works on models for predicting speaker-specific speech contours directly from style labels like happy, sad, neutral, and to allow text control over expressions of the synthesized speech when a style reference audio is not available. So you have the Trump voice, and then you put a characteristic on it, happy, and the text-to-speech becomes happy with emotion. That's what this is doing. It's faking natural human emotion. However, any emerging technology can also be abused. Realistic voice cloning technology can be used to create voiceovers for subjects of deep fake videos, and has the potential to be used maliciously to spread disinformation for creating inappropriate contact. Also, the technology can be abused for circumventing speech based on user authentication systems in smart devices. So someone can fake your voice emotionally to unlock a device. We seek to discourage the unethical use of our technology. Upon the release of public access to our voice cloning app, we plan to incorporate techniques to watermark the speech generated by our model. And to that I say, good luck with that. I'll put the link to this also in chat. Expressive neural voice cloning. This is where we're coming from. This is our new life. This is the new reality that is chasing us. Is it really Donald Trump on the phone telling you you've won $1 million? Is it really your sister asking you to come and help her? And you go, and you show up, and your sister is not there, but someone with a gun is waiting for you. And voice is so much easier to clone emotionally than video. You can call somebody and do a whole big fake out just with audio. Leave a message, voicemail with someone. Practice it. Have a script. Put quotes out into the world from famous people and make them say things that they never said before. And how do we verify it? Oh, it's going to be watermarked. Who's going to check a watermark on a voicemail in real time when time is of the essence and someone is trying to fake being your friend? It's a big problem. I don't know a way out of it. I don't know how to stop it because it's already here. And with that, my friend, it's time to take a very small blood pressure break. Back in a moment.